So this thought of being a deacon just came out of nowhere. Or maybe someone just asked you, have you ever thought about being a deacon? Could have been your wife, a friend, a priest, or maybe just a complete stranger after church. However this idea came to you, now what do you do with it? In this video, I hope to answer that question. Well, hello everybody and welcome back to A Deacon's Life. My name is Deacon Thomas Shad. And so now you're thinking, I'm interested in the diaconate. Or someone came to you and said, have you thought about it? However that thought came to you, what do you do now? Well, first of all, don't keep it to yourself. Pray. Bring it to God. I would suggest go to the Adoration Chapel and ask Him, is this what you're calling me to do? And don't just go there once, keep going. Then if you're married, talk with your wife about what you're thinking about doing, or just about what you're thinking about at all about the diaconate. Just start the conversation. And then what? Well, I know what I did. That was, I didn't do any of that. I kept it to myself. I didn't tell anybody about it for a while. I said no to the call. It's just what I did. I don't recommend that at all. But once I finally stopped saying no, then I started asking the questions. And so what I did is I'd call men that I knew that were deacons and ask them, what was the process like? What is it like being a deacon? What do you do? I just started asking just a ton of those questions. And I asked them specifically, what is the program like? And all of them came back and said, well, the program has changed since I've been into it. I would suggest that you call the Vocations office. And so that's what I recommend you do. Call the Vocations office. Let them know that you're thinking about the diaconate and you'd like to get some more information about it. And it's that simple. Well, it's not quite that simple, because besides just calling them, I would suggest that you do a little research on your own. So when I went, I tried to find as many books as I could, and I couldn't find many, as I mentioned in one of the first videos. But I did find something online that wasn't quite yet published. At least I didn't know it was published. I didn't even know what I was looking at, but I printed it out. And it was almost 300 pages. And I actually read this twice. And as I was going through it, I was finding so many things that were interested. I highlighted something, most likely on every page, then read it again. And after I read it, I remember having this thought, who can do this? And I almost said no to the call. Because why? I was scared. And I was keeping it to myself at that time, okay? But once I brought it out in the open, brought it out into the light, and started asking the questions about it, talking with my wife about it, I actually started to get more excited. So if you're thinking about the diaconate, make sure that you talk with people about it. Bring it to prayer, and then call the Vocations office, and they'll get you in touch with someone in the IDF. All that stands for is Institute Diaconate Formation, and that's in the Diocese of Minneapolis and St. Paul. Now, every diocese has their own process, but I'll be talking about the Archdiocese of St. Paul and Minneapolis. So if you contact the IDF office, they'll just send you an email, like a 3-page thing to fill out. And all it is, who are you? What parish do you go to? Are you married? What's your guys' names? Just some really basic information, but they're also going to ask you a couple questions that kind of get the thought process going, so they can get to know you a little bit. 2 of the questions are, what is attracting you to the vocation of deacon? And then, what clues do you have that God might be calling you? What a great question that is. And then, what energizes you, or what gets you excited when you think about being a deacon? You'd fill that out, send it back, and then they'll invite you to go to a discernment day. What that is just a day for you, and if you're married, your spouse to go with you, to learn about the process. I say it's great, because there's so much information that sometimes you don't even know what to ask, and they're gonna give it to you. How long is the program? What is the first year look like? Which is the aspirancy year. So you're not even formation yet, but it's just human growth you and your spouse you go through. Everybody says they love the first year. I know me and my wife did. We absolutely loved it. Then the formation process. How long is that process? What classes do you go to? Can your spouse go with you? Just some basic, not basic, it really goes into some in depth with it. After that, go home, talk with your spouse, pray, and if you still think you're feeling that call, then they'll send you another application, part 2. And this one is just a little bit more questions in depth about you, who you are, things like that. Then they take that information and sit down with you, see if there's any impediments, things like that. Then, if you still feel that call, they'll send you the application. It might seem overwhelming. Didn't mean to pause there, but I remember when I first got that application and I looked at it, saw how thick it was, I got overwhelmed. But then what I just realized, a lot of it was just to read, sign the name so I could get background checks, stuff like that, do a bio of myself. My wife did one as well, just to tell those that are helping me discern the process of being a deacon, what my life was like, how I've changed, things like that. In here, it's just also just ask for references from your priest, from family, friends, just to get to know you more, and again, to see if there's any impediments. And if you're wondering, well, what's an impediment? That thing that I found, that is actually this thing, but I didn't find it in print. The National Directory of Formation for Permanent Deacons in the U.S. All that information is in here, all of it, what the process might be like for you. So then after you fill all of that out and you send it in, then you're done. No, I'm just kidding, you're not done. People will sit down with you, walk you through it, but there's also one more thing in our archdiocese that I wish would have been around when I went through, and that's the Catechetical Institute. If you've been through it, you know what I'm about to say. The Catechetical Institute is awesome, and it's not just for those thinking about being ordained a deacon. It's actually not. That's just one of the prerequisites. If you're thinking about becoming a deacon, you need to go through that. It's a 2-year process that you meet with phenomenal professors and teachers to learn about the Catholic faith. When I've talked with everybody, I said, what did you think? They're like, I was so amazed at that program. I learned so much about our faith. I mean, how awesome is that? Anyone that wants to learn about the Catholic faith, I'd recommend to go. How awesome is that to truly learn about your faith? Those questions that you've had burning inside you that you always wondered about can get answered. That's a bit about the process, about kind of what I did, what the process kind of looks like. If you're thinking about the diaconate, pray about it, contact the Vocations office and find out when you can go to discernment day. You won't regret it. So God bless, keep praying, and keep serving.